For those that don't know me, I'm Carrie Gray, and I'm the Managing Director at Wilmington Renaissance Corporation. And I just want to say it's an incredible honor to be with all of you today as we dedicate this first mural in the Creative District, the Veterans Freedom Mural. Getting Back to the World is the title. Today's program includes remarks from Governor Markell, Secretary of State Bullock, General Vavala, and in addition, you'll hear from Kathy McKay, CEO of Connections Community Support Programs, our partner in this effort, Eric Okdeh, the lead artist on the mural, and Laura Semmelroth, Wilmington Renaissance's Creative District strategist who managed this whole project from start to finish. And as a very special tribute to our veterans, Pastor Tom Davis, who is a Vietnam veteran and a member of the Veterans Interfaith Work Group, will share his original poem, A Piece of Peace. Before we move on to our remarks, I want to take a moment to thank and honor the companies and organizations who sponsored this mural. They are Connections Community Support Programs, Inc., Delaware Department of State, Delaware Division of the Arts, Highmark Delaware, Interfaith Community Housing of Delaware, MSP Equipment Rentals, Inc., Wilmington Renaissance Corporation, and WSFS Bank. Please join me in thanking our sponsors. I know there were some elected officials who snuck in today, and hopefully I don't miss anyone, but I wanted to thank Newcastle County Executive Tom Gordon for being here, Wilmington City Council President Theo Gregory, Councilwoman Hanifa Shabazz, this I believe is her district, and Insurance Commissioner Karen Weldon Stewart. All, thank you so much for being here today. I wish that we could have time on this agenda for everyone to say a few words, and I am sorry if we weren't able to get you onto the agenda, but I really appreciate all of you being here this morning. And I also appreciate Mayor Williams for being here this morning, and he would like to say a few words before he has to head off to a meeting this morning of welcome. So, Mayor Williams.
Good morning, Dennis. How you doing?
How you doing, sir?
How are you?
All right.
Mayor, how are you? Thank you.
Good morning. How you doing, sir? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here this morning. I want to thank the artists and all the partners who dedicated this mural to our city and worked so hard to put it up. But one of the things I do want to say to each and every one of you this morning, Wilmington's gone through some trials and tribulations. I love these murals. I love all this commitment to our city. But one of the things I want to state this morning, we need jobs, ladies and gentlemen. We need jobs. And this is not off script. The only way we're going to get out of the situation we're in, we need employment. We can't keep talking about it. We have to create jobs. We have to put people to work. Also, we have to look out for our veterans. We have so many homeless veterans that are unemployed. It's ridiculous. People go off and fight for this nation, and what do? Sleeping in a box under a bridge. Each and every one of us should be outraged for that. And I think we are. I think that's why you're here today. Our commitment to our veterans is the reason why we have the freedoms and diplomacy and things we can do. We can run against each other. We can say things against each other. We can use diplomatic terms or angry terms. It's because people went off to war to fight for our nation to make us free. Each and every one of us should be committed to reach out and do more for our veterans and our homeless. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mayor Williams. And last but far from least this morning, I'd like to recognize our lead artist, Eric Okdeh, who is with us today. Eric, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing all of your time, talent, and knowledge with our community. During this process in the last 6 months, Eric actually helped to train a number of local artists in this process of mural making. And we know that you've enriched their lives, our lives, and the lives of anyone who was involved in this mural being made. And we really, truly appreciate your commitment to this project. So the first step to any successful mural project is to find a wall that's suitable and then hope that the property owner is amenable to the idea of a mural on their wall. With Connections Community Support Programs, we found not only both of those, but also a partner who generously made improvements to the wall to prepare it for the mural, who provided space in which veterans, community members, and our artists could meet, space where the mural could be painted, and staff members who were amazingly supportive throughout the whole process. I don't think we could have asked for a better partner than we had in Connections. So at this time, I'd like to invite Kathy McKay to come to the podium and share a few words. Kathy?
Thanks, Carrie. I really appreciate that. I don't really want to talk about anything except the fact that this wall is really significant. So I think in 2007, Connections was awarded a low-income housing tax credit project by the Delaware State Housing Authority that focused on chronically homeless people. And we made the decision to dedicate half of that project, this building, which has 15 apartments in it, to homeless veterans. So the people who live here are homeless veterans. The Veterans Administration pays rental subsidies that help them to be able to live there. And when the conversation started to happen about where could we put this, I really was hoping that we could put it here, because I thought that it would be so great to recognize those veterans for their service, to recognize the existence of this housing project for veterans in the city of Wilmington that a lot of people didn't really understand who lived here. They thought it was just homeless people. Well, I think the message, and you heard the mayor say it, is homeless people are all kinds of people, including veterans of foreign wars who have fought and given their service for us. And you can see the beautiful mural that they were so instrumental in creating. So I really thank the Creative District, the Wilmington Renaissance, and the other partners in the project for giving us this opportunity. And I also thank Michael Combeck from the Creative Vision Factory for recognizing why this wall was so good. So, you know, we all thought it was great because you could drive down Washington Street and you could see it. It's a gateway to the city. But he came one day and he turned around and he said, no, look behind you. So look behind us at all those windows from which you can see this mural. And I thought that was a brilliant insight on his part, and I really thank him for that and everybody who was involved in the project. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kathy, again, for your support for this mural from start to finish. There really aren't enough words to express our gratitude for your support. At this time, I would like to invite Tom Davis to the podium to share his poem, A Piece of Peace. Tom?
I want to thank my brothers and some recent women vets who have joined me in the Interfaith Veterans Work Group. We met with Eric and shared some of our memories from our various experiences in several overseas conflicts, and some of our ideas are on the wall. I like for poetry to be plain and not confused. So I'll give you a couple of helps. On the first stanza, I speak of a counterpart. I did not serve with an American unit in Vietnam. I was a military advisor to the South Vietnamese Navy, and I rode wooden junks. And I was assigned to a Vietnamese officer. He was my counterpart. The reason I'm wearing orange is that these days my wife and I belong to the Wilmington Peacekeepers. We go into neighborhoods where there has been a shooting to grieve with the families and friends and to bring some hope into those neighborhoods. A piece of peace. My counterpart did me a kindness, sensing I was getting toasted for in-country R&R. He led me to a place where a papasan was keeping roses. I bent to touch one. Tiny, fragile, the color of blood. A piece of peace. When a diver goes deep, he comes up slowly or explodes. I moved to Miami, which mirrored the Nam, hot, humid, sauteed in adrenaline. It was harder to leave the deep than I had imagined. But on the way up, I fell into silence with Quakers and found some solace there, a piece of peace. I do confess a little danger still stirs my blood. Home now, my wife and I march with orange-clad peacekeepers, where shooters have wounded or killed, praying with grievers, planting seeds of hope, trying our best to be a piece of peace. Thank you. It is my honor and privilege to introduce the next speaker, our governor, who took office in a very tough year, 2008, the beginning of the Great Recession. Our state had an $800 million budget deficit. Our governor cut his own salary by 20%. That's what real leaders do. They lead by example. He then proceeded to cut spending, and yes, he did raise some taxes. He was elected chair of Democratic governors and then the National Governors Association. In 2012, he was reelected by the largest margin ever in gubernatorial history for this state. Our governor has led in a number of progressive causes, promoting renewable energy, recycling, legalizing same-sex marriage, and many more, but we are here this morning to hear from him about veterans' concerns. And he has been a leader in that area as well. Michelle Obama challenged governors to end homelessness amongst military veterans. Our governor resolved to meet that challenge last year in 2015. I'm not privy to the details, but no doubt Marcella's house was a fruit of that effort. Our governor has not just led us to find homes for veterans, he has worked tirelessly with businessmen to employ veterans and to make it easier for vets to win vocational certification. And this past Memorial Day, our governor reminded us that there are 85,000 veterans in the state of Delaware. As a volunteer who works with vets, I can tell you they do not self-identify. Many, after serving, disappear into the woodwork. Our governor has done his part to bring them out, to treat them not just justly, but kindly. Let's hear from him now. Governor.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Great to be with you. And first of all, I want to say in terms of the mural, how powerful I think it is. And I was talking to Eric, who's the artist, beforehand, and he said something that I had felt, which is sometimes you look at a mural like this, and then you just have to be silent, and you have to keep looking, and you keep finding new things. And I think it's very powerful. And I want to thank you, Eric, and all who had something to do with this. And certainly, I think hearing and understanding some of the voices of the veterans just by looking at this mural, I think is really important for all of us to do. So thank you very much, and let's hear it for the artist, Eric. And I do want to pick up on something that was mentioned in the introduction, because there's a line in the mural above us that says, and it's a big section about saying thank you for your service, thank you for your service. And it's important to thank for the service, but what's more important than the words of thank you are the actions you take to demonstrate that the thanks are real. And Pastor Davis, in his introduction, mentioned two of the most important areas as far as I'm concerned. One is, it is a travesty that after what our veterans go through, that they could come home and not have a place to live. And so last year, we made the pledge to end veteran homelessness in Delaware. And it was a pledge that was made with counties and cities throughout the state, led in large part by the State Housing Authority, working with our Commission on Veterans Affairs, and of course our great Adjutant General, who you'll hear from in a few minutes. And the progress that they made was extraordinary. And essentially, I don't remember all the numbers off the top of my head, but of about 300 homeless veterans, permanent housing was found for about 225. Temporary shelter was found for about 70 or 71, and there were still 4 out of the 300 for whom the housing was and shelter was being sought. So I think that is remarkable progress, and I'm grateful to all who had something to do with it, but we need to make sure that this is not just a once-a-year exercise, but it's something that we keep up. And the second piece is around employment, and the same thing. When our veterans come home, and rather than just saying, thank you, how about let's finding them a job? And the pastor was right. It's really a reflection of incredible commitment on the part of many of our employers. And so we have cut the veteran unemployment rate in Delaware to about half of what it was, and significantly better than surrounding states and in the country. And again, that's really, thank you. But that gratitude, by the way, really needs to be extended to our employers who are giving these veterans a chance. And so what I really wanted to say to all of you is that if you are an employer, or if you know an employer who may be looking, this is not, I'm not asking people to do this as a matter of charity, because the truth is our veterans come home with extraordinary skills and abilities. And so this is great for it's great for them, it's great for our community, but it's also great for our employers. And again, I want to thank the folks at the National Guard. General Vavala has made this a real commitment, and he's got a team focused specifically on veterans employment. So I do think that, and finally I want to say, in connection with the mural and the Creative District and Connections, this is really a great opportunity for many stakeholders to come together. I'm excited about what Wilmington Renaissance has planned for this area in terms of the Creative District. You're starting to see some of the activity already, and I think that this mural is a very visible symbol of it all. So thank you to everybody. I think our Secretary of State is coming up next. We're fortunate to have him. He's been terrific. The Commission on Veterans Affairs is part of his organization. He's been very, very dedicated to their efforts. So, but before he comes up, I do want to tell everybody this is General Vavala's birthday, and he very much likes being the center of attention, and he asked me to come up here and tell everybody it's his birthday. That's actually not true, but it is General Vavala's birthday. He's done a phenomenal job, and so has Jeff Bullock. And with that, please welcome Secretary of State Bullock.
I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that introduction, but I'll do better one, Frank. Thanks, everybody, first of all, for coming out this morning. Not the most beautiful morning we've had lately, a little gloomy, but a very bright spot for our city here behind me. Congratulations to Eric, to the artist, and to the 100 or so, he said 100, I think, or so people that contributed to painting the mural. I was not one of them. That's why it looks as good as it does, because even though it was paint by numbers, I'm told it would have been a disaster if I had taken a paintbrush to it. And I want to reemphasize a couple of points that the governor made, and especially the one about Carrie Gray and the work that the Wilmington Renaissance Corporation is doing for this city. I remember probably 5 or 6 years ago now when Carrie came to my office and asked me to be a member of the WRC board. Turned out to be a very expensive decision I made that day. But she went through with me some of the vision that she had and the WRC had for this creative arts district. And I mean, I listened very politely, as the governor and I all the time have people come in and lay out these great plans, and with no idea how they're ever going to be implemented. And I got to admit, I sort of felt the same way with what Carrie presented that day. And wow, 5 years, 4 years later, what a difference that vision is starting to make for this part of the city, and dovetails perfectly into one of the governor's highest priorities, which are these downtown development districts that he's initiated here in Wilmington and up and down our state. And these things are going to work, folks. And the cynics like me who thought they were a bit of a stretch are going to be proven wrong. And we're already seeing the kind of energy and enthusiasm in this part of the city. And I think it's just going to build throughout the rest of this year, and as we move into to welcome a new governor and a new administration next year. So this mural is a happy marriage of two of the favorite parts of the mission of my department. The arts, and Paul Wiegraff, who's the director of the Delaware Division of Arts, is standing back there in the back. Paul, thanks for coming today. And taking care of our veterans. The governor mentioned the Commission on Veterans Affairs as part of the Department of State. as is our state's Veterans Home, which is located in Milford and houses a number of veterans from all the different services who served from our state of Delaware. It is a special honor to be able to participate in serving our veterans and giving back some for what those veterans have done for us, not only as a state, but as a nation. And so I'm happy to be able to introduce Frank Vavala. And you know, I saw last night it was his birthday, and my initial inclination, of course, I worked for Tom Carper for a long time, so my initial inclination was to have everybody sing happy birthday, because of course that's what Tom Carper would make us all do. And then I thought, no, he's a 2-star general, you know, he's the adjutant general, that's disrespectful. So if you can all kind of just think happy birthday, sing happy birthday in your minds, we won't articulate it, but we'll do that much for him. But let me tell you, Frank, I've served with a number of adjutant generals, both in the Carper administration and with Frank. What's that? And now, you better be careful because we will sing. And Frank is, in addition to just being an incredible representative of our armed services, he is just an absolutely terrific guy. And you know, they always say if you look up National Guard, you know, you'll see so-and-so in the dictionary. Literally, this guy is the personification of the National Guard. He has served our country and our state with great distinction for many, many, many years. And for a guy his age to still be doing what he does is amazing. So without further ado, Major General Frank Vavala, the Adjutant General of Delaware.
That's great. Thank you, Marcella. Thanks, Mr. Secretary. Wow, what an intro, huh? I like to say I'm like Jack Benny, and Jack stopped aging at 39. Well, I did that too, and that was 30 years ago. So now you know the awful truth. Always great to be with our Secretary of State and certainly our governor, the Commander-in-Chief of our military here in Delaware, our Delaware National Guard. Good to see you, Mr. County Executive. And Pastor Davis, I'd like to echo what you said about our governor. His commitment to eradicating veterans' homelessness and also to ensuring that we make great strides in employing veterans is just phenomenal. Please recognize our governor again.
Thank you.
Also, Pastor Davis, I send along Chaplain Ed Brandt's regards.
Oh, thank you.
He said to say hello to you. Eric, I'm blown away by this mural. Just phenomenal. And as the governor said, you stand there and you look at it, you reflect on it. And every time you look at it, you see something more. And you really see the true veterans experience. So I'm really honored to attend this auspicious event. The 2,700 members of my Delaware National Guard family understand the immense importance of serving our community. And I'm appreciative that Wilmington's creative district and everyone involved with this mural has recognized how truly great it is to increase civic involvement and transform our communities for the better. And that's what you're witnessing here. And not only are you all bringing our community together to create a remarkable piece of artwork, but you've chosen to highlight our veterans by creatively depicting their transition back into civilian life. It will likely surprise you that less than 7% of the United States population is eligible for military service, and roughly only 0.7% of the population ends up serving in our military. So we're honoring a segment of our community. So few individuals choose to sacrifice for so many, and we're honoring them with this mural. That's why it's so incredible that you all here identify the importance and try to portray and understand through artistic creativity one of the most difficult times for our veterans. And that's what this mural reflects. That's when they take the uniform off and encounter the complex adjustment to civilian life. I see you're all looking at it, you're gaining that, you're seeing that come forward and seeing that in the mural and experiencing that. I applaud all. Eric, I thank you and the other artists in the community for what you've done here and everyone who made this come to fruition. I thank you for your selfless efforts to better our community and at the same time honor our veterans. Thank you all for being here today. And may God bless and protect each one of you, our service members, veterans, their families, and may God bless the city of Wilmington, our first state, and our great United States of America. Thank you and God bless. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Governor Markell, Secretary Bullock, and Adjutant General Vavala for being with us this morning. It truly is clear that through all of your remarks, there's been a major commitment to our veterans community here in Delaware, and I think we owe you all a great deal of thanks for all of the work that you do every day. So by just looking at this mural, I'm sure that you all know that this was no small feat. And when you look at the details of the project in your program, the magnitude is made plain. 100 hours of meeting and making time, 50 gallons of paint, primer, and sealer, 107 different colors, 31 5-foot by 5-foot cloth panels, 3 paint days, 15 artists in training, and over 100 people ages 6 to 91 from all different backgrounds coming together to paint this mural. Projects of this size and scale do not just happen. They take leadership, talent, and commitment. At this time, I'd like to invite the dynamic duo who each possess all 3 of those qualities and who worked diligently together from start to finish to ensure that this mural was not only completed on time, but completed in record time. Laura Semmelroth, WRC's Creative District Strategist, and Eric Okdeh, our lead artist and exceptional muralist.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
That was a little rainy. You want to try it again? Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Thanks for coming today. I know it's not the most comfortable of weather, but I really appreciate you all being here, and I know Eric does as well. For those of you who do not know me, I'm Laura Semmelroth. I'm the Creative District Strategist for Wilmington Renaissance. I'm sure you've all realized by now there have been quite a few hands involved in making this mural come to life. I would like to take a moment to recognize them. If you have shared stories, painted during community paint days, drawn the image on cloth, photographed the process, given of your time and talents to this mural, please raise your hand. Please give these folks a huge round of applause. The Public Art Prep Program artist worked closely with the artist, not only to learn the mural process for further implementation in Wilmington, but to learn new techniques that they can apply in their own work. From that group of artists emerged a team whose dedication to the mural went above and beyond, and without whose dedication and hard work, we would not be able to celebrate this accomplishment today. Please raise your hand to be acknowledged. Danny Martinez, Monica Lopez, Joshua Lopez, Eduardo Carrera, David Gerbeck, Andre Hinton, Jean Orr, Linda Celestian, Jesse Taylor, Robert Hinton, Stuart Thomas, Javier Chavera, Pat Hinton, Henriette Hayes, and William Young. Thank all of them for all of their work. There's a few more people who this would not have happened without, and I am so deeply appreciative of them. Tom Davis, who read his poem that is immortalized in the mural, has been so giving of his time and all of his talents to the process. And this man has a lot of talents to give, so thank you, Tom. I would also like to thank Teresa Emmett from 4 Youth Productions and her youth photographers for documenting the process so beautifully. These kids are awesome, amazing photographers. Watch for them in the coming years. And I would also like to thank Ed Polyblank. Ed, where are you? Over there. Ed. Ed has just been dedicated to this entire process and making sure everything worked and ran smoothly, and his experience is reflected in the wall as well. Jessica Schulte. Jessica.
Right there with us.
Jessica made every workshop happen, and so we wouldn't be here today without Jessica helping us through all of that. And lastly but not leastly, I'd like to thank Caitlin Gleason for figuring out all the details that started this whole thing going, and thank you, Caitlin. And of course, Eric. Eric has just shared everything with us, and we have been given this wonderful gift, and thank you, Eric.
Thank you. Hey, everybody. Thank you for coming out on today for the dedication. Without saying all the names again, I really deeply want to thank everyone that Laura just thanked. You know, this mural would not take its shape or look the way it does without your involvement. It's absolutely vital to the project. I've been a public artist for about 20 years now, creating murals in neighborhoods, with neighborhoods, and by neighborhoods and communities. And I find that public art has more potential than just being an image on the wall. I mean, what you're seeing right now is the last sort of moment of a collaboration that took months and months to make. And you know, public art sits at the nexus of so much community building and organization, catharsis, and healing. There's so many things that kind of converge around public art. And it's great to see that time and time again. I want to thank Monica, who was my assistant, and she came here. She helped out on every day, just like everyone else, but she was with me on that lift that you see back there. We had the presence of mind to schedule the 3 rainiest days in the past month to put all this up with glass. So she's a real trooper, and thank you. And she possesses all of the parachute cloth installation knowledge, and she's going to go forth and help other artists. But I really want to thank the veterans who came together with us at the very beginning of this project and sat down to theme build and just explore ideas with us. And in doing that, opened themselves up and started telling very personal stories. And I'm always very humbled by the willingness of people to come into a project and share things that are not easy to share and talk about subjects that are really not easy to talk about. But it's that input, it's those experiences. I mean, you see the 2 silhouettes of the veterans on the mural. They're made up of their experiences. They're a summation of their experiences, and those experiences reflect what was shared to me on those days. And I cannot thank you enough for your service, but also for the time that you spent informing me and trying to keep this project on track in terms of its impact. So thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
Eric, don't go anywhere just yet. So before we close, we want to present Eric with a gift of thanks from Wilmington Renaissance, from Connections, from all of the public art program participants, and especially our sponsors. So Eric, this is for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
We hope that you will treasure this experience in Wilmington, and especially that you'll remember fondly your work with the Veterans Freedom Mural as much as we all will treasure our memories working with you. And we certainly hope that this won't be the last mural that you'll have your hand in here in Wilmington. So We look forward to continuing our working relationship with you, definitely in the future. This work that Wilmington Renaissance does and the work of the Creative District would not be possible without the support and the overwhelming support of our board of directors. Glenn Moore, our board chair, is here. I know there's some other board members here. If you could raise your hand and let us say thank you to you for all of your support. I'd also like to say that this is not the last mural that you will see, and we will be dedicating the second mural of the Creative District located at 7th and Tatnall Streets on Friday, August 5th as part of our Creative District Inspire-A-Lot series. So please mark your calendar, come out at 5 o'clock on August 5th, watch our social media platforms for any weather-related changes that could potentially happen, because that seems to be our MO this summer. And we hope to see you then. I'd also like to ask that the sponsors of the mural please see Laura before you leave, as we have a token of appreciation for you as well. And in closing, I want to thank you all again so much for being with us today. Please join me again in thanking all of the people who made this possible, our artists, our partners, our sponsors, and especially the small but mighty staff of Wilmington Renaissance Corporation. Thank you again. You know, we kind of, when we talked about this event, we said, how do we proclaim that this mural is dedicated? So I am proclaiming that this mural is dedicated. Thank you all again, and we'll see you soon. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for coming.
Good job.
Thank you. It was great to meet you. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for this opportunity to speak on behalf of veterans. I have a deep and sincere respect for those folk who served our country. We get a chance to voice our opinions, to be who we are as Americans, and but for our veterans, we just wouldn't be able to do that. So I'm so appreciative, and I do believe that this mural will just commemorate and place them at a place where they will always be in our thoughts. So I'm appreciative of the Creative District and the mural. Thank you.